All right, welcome back. So in this video, we're gonna be driving from Columbia, South Carolina out to Camden, South Carolina. When we get there, we're gonna be doing a tour of downtown Camden. We're also gonna be going to some of the local neighborhoods, show you where the medical facilities are, drive to where the Carolina Cup is hosted. And on the way, we'll be passing through Elgin, South Carolina, as well as Lugoff, South Carolina. Going back, Camden is known as South Carolina's oldest inland city, and we'll actually be driving through some of those historic districts that a lot of you ask me about. I'll talk to you about what current pricing is in some of these areas, what neighborhoods are around, including new construction, as well as the local shopping. As well, we'll talk about, again, new construction neighborhoods, as again, we're seeing more neighborhoods pop up in this direction from builders like Stanley Martin Homes, Lennar Homes, D.R. Horton, and so many more. But for those not familiar with the area, we're just on the outskirts of Columbia in what we call Northeast Columbia, which would put us about 35 minutes to Lexington and Lake Murray. I'll talk about proximity to downtown Columbia in just a second, but as we get kicked off, and as you see me driving here, we're starting right here at the Sandhills. The village is at Sandhills Mall in Northeast Columbia. I show you this because this is going to be one of the major shopping hubs for the first part of this drive. You'll see downtown Elgin is relatively small town. As we get closer to Lugoff and then Camden, you'll start to see more shopping. But either way, Sandhills Mall, it has had its struggles over the years, just to be 100% honest. The '08 crash kind of hit it a little hard, and then 2020. So while there's quite a few vacancies, you do see quite a few shops, and some of those vacancies filling up. You see places like Five Guys that we passed, JCPenney's, Moe's Sasquatch Grill, Palmetto Moon, Belk. There's a Regal Movie Theater, Move Fitness, Value City Furniture, Academy Sports, and so many as well as there's apartments and recent amounts homes coming to the area. We're gonna be making it right onto Clemson Road, but I'm gonna circle back. Just across the street from this center though, and you're not gonna see this in the drive, you have Hobby Lobby, Target, Best Buy, Publix, Olive Garden, Chick-fil-A, Sam's Club, Home Depot, and a ton more stores. And as we leave Sandhills Mall, to give you an idea, again, we turned onto Clemson Road. About 5 miles down this road, you'll hit I-20, making it about 25-minute ride to downtown Columbia, taking you to the University of South Carolina, Fort Jackson, and so much more. Again, circling back to the ruralness of these areas, Elgin, Lugoff, Camden are pretty rural towns, but you can often find homes with more land and more space that I know a lot of y'all ask about. As well, again, the historic district that a lot of people ask about. And we're gonna be making a right here. I'm gonna circle back to more details about the areas we're heading to in just a second here, but we're gonna be turning onto Two Notch Road. I always tell people, because it's confusing, there's a Two Notch Road in Lexington, there's a Two Notch Road here in Columbia. Heading the other way down Two Notch would take us back for reference just right around the corner from Wildwood Country Club, a little further Spring Valley Country Club, and the Sesquicentennial State Park. Straight staying on that road though, Clemson Road, about 2 miles. Again, I mentioned the interstate, but 2 miles down the road would take you to Mungo's Ashcroft neighborhood. This has been ranked as one of the area's community of the year. This neighborhood features homes from 1,483 square feet to over 4,000 square feet, with pricing from the mid 200s to the 500. Features a variety of styles, patio style homes, ranch floor plans, up to the popular Webster floor plan and the Yates floor plan that Mungo makes. It did feature a community pool, clubhouse, playground, fire pit, hammock garden, and so much more. Either way, this area we're first pulling into, still part of Richland County, and we'll talk about that in a second, is called Pontiac. As we turn this corner on the left, because I don't want to get behind, is a shopping center that includes multiple antique stores. If you're an antiquer, you'll definitely want to check this out. They're kind of known for this strip mall here. One of the stores even includes locally made furniture, and I can tell you we bought quite a few things from these shops over here on the left-hand side of the road. As we continue up though, on the right is going to take you to Wood Creek's Farms. It's also accessible off of Clemson Road, but either way, if you haven't watched any of my videos, Wood Creek Farms is a master plan community featuring the Wood Creek Country Club. And you'll notice that their addresses are Elgin. Now, we're not into Kershaw County, Elgin. We're still on the Richland County side, but either way, just for reference on that, in this neighborhood, you have the country club that features clay tennis courts, hard courts too, league, as well as tournaments, Olympic-sized swimming pool with swim teams, as well as, of course, the Tom Fazio-designed golf course featuring a pro shop, events, clinics, lessons, and more. Lastly, 12,000 square foot clubhouse that features dining events, live music, fun nights for adults, and so much more. On the right here is the old neighborhood, Mungo finished up, Catawba Hill. Either way, circling back, within Wood Creeks you have a ton of neighborhoods, including brand new neighborhoods such as Mungo's, the Grove at Wood Creek. Lennar has patio homes, the patio homes at Wood Creek. Stanley Martin's has Lakeside at Wood Creek. You also have Pulte Homes with Pecan Orchard and so much more. You have those established neighborhoods, including townhomes, all the way up to exclusive gated neighborhood, even with homes up to 17,228 square feet. You heard that right. Either way, to give you an idea of pricing in that neighborhood, this year homes sold from 1,620 square feet up to that 17,228 square foot. 263,000 up to 2,725,000. Average home was 2,882 square feet. Average sales price 441,000, and the average of $153 per square foot right there in that neighborhood. Now, as we round the corner, you may catch signs of it. We're going to be leaving Richland County, heading into Kershaw County. Again, that part of Elgin, where Wood Creek Farms is part of Richland County. Now, one of the things people do enjoy about Kershaw County, outside the ruralness, and I'll go back to that density in just a little bit, is lower taxes. Obviously, being a rural area, you truly have 3 high schools in the area in Kershaw County. You have Camden High School, Lugoff Elgin High School, and North Central High School. Where for reference, Richland County 1 has 8 different high schools plus a career tech center, and Richland County 2 has 5 different high schools. So hopefully that gives you a comparison of the density. Again, I want to go back to the actual density of the area to better put it in perspective as we continue on, and as we get closer, I'll talk to you more about what's in these direct areas. But to give you an idea, Kershaw County, where Elgin and Lugoff is, and Camden, is about 90 people per square mile, where Lexington County is 390 people per square mile, and Richland County is at 549 people per square mile. So hopefully that gives you an idea of that density in the area. Either way, for those of you that don't know who I am, my name is Brandon. My team and I of local real estate agents have truly been helping people from all over the country relocate right here in the Midlands of South Carolina. Lexington, Columbia, and the Lake Murray area. So please don't hesitate to reach out, that way you don't have to go at this alone. And don't forget to subscribe as I put videos out like this every single week, teaching you about the area. Whether it is these driving tours, I do map tours where I break down all the different areas, market updates, and so much more. Reasons I make these driving tour videos is because oftentimes I have people reach out that have never visited the area, but you know, they see some neighborhoods online, they see some of the other videos I make, and trust me, I get it. I relocated here myself from California back in 2015, and there weren't videos like this. So a lot of times one of the first things we like to do when we get to the area is kind of drive around and get a feel for it. So oftentimes this can do that for you to help you pinpoint those areas. It's like, hey, you know, I saw some of those new construction Stanley Martin neighborhood or whatever builder it is in Lugoff, and I want to know where that is. And hopefully this gives you that perspective of it. Again, I've done it for a ton of different areas around, whether it is Lexington, around Lake Murray, but I wanted to hit some of these more rural areas that, to be 100% honest, a lot of us weren't making videos about. Not that there's anything wrong with it, it's just obviously the popular searches one on YouTube are more Columbia, Lexington, Lake Murray. And either way, a lot more of you have asked about the more rural areas. So I did a driving tour around the Gaston area, Pillion, Swansea. I'm gonna be doing one in the future that kind of goes around that west side of Lake Murray, kind of the more rural areas of that, give you a sense of the feel of that. Again, hitting these areas that we don't typically make videos about, not that there's anything wrong with it, again, just wasn't as popular of a search criteria, but hopefully this gives you perspective, maybe save you some time now that you have a better understanding of what these areas truly are like. Because again, I've got more and more people that have asked about these areas, which is why I made the videos. Either way, being that it's more rural, I'm going to take a little break here, come back as we get closer to downtown Elgin, talk about that more and some of the neighborhoods that we're going to be passing. And as we get closer here to downtown Elgin, you'll start to see, and you might have noticed already, it's rather rural, as I talked about with the densely population. But the downtown itself, like I talked about with Sandhill's Mall being the proximity of it. Because downtown you will see, you have an IGA for grocery store, you have Food Lion, you got some Mexican restaurants, you got some wing places, pizza and more, but there's not really a ton outside of that. Now, obviously, as you saw, we're not too far from the villages at Sandhill. And so again, that's why I bring up that proximity to it. So you realize, I talk to people about this all the time. While things get rural really fast, the benefit of that is it's not a long commute back to some of these major shopping hubs, right? My sister-in-law used to live in Utah, and it was like, literally, it was like 2 hours to like major shopping. You might have grocery stores nearby. And so that's why I say, I understand that logic of like, look, I don't want to, and I've had a lot of you tell me this, I want to be more rural, but I don't want to drive an hour just to get to the grocery store. And so that's the benefit you have, at least here in the Midlands. Of course, there are areas that are a lot more rural around South Carolina if you visited the area. But right here in the Midlands where we talk about, it's not as much. And either way, give you an idea of pricing. So year to date in Lugoff and Elgin, we saw a median price right around $269,608. As we roll further on into Camden, their median price came in at about $270,000. On the way, I'll point out a few other neighborhoods as we continue on, new construction and resales. And as we roll into Camden's historic district, I'll talk about pricing in those areas as well. All right, so again, that was downtown Elgin to give you an idea. Like I said, very small town. We're not too far from Lugoff, but as we kind of come through town here, you may start to see some signs on the left. And like I said, I might be getting a little ahead of myself here. You're gonna find Lennar's neighborhood, Chestnut Place. And these are gonna be off the road, so that's why I point them out now, because there may or may not be signs. But either way, Chestnut Place, this neighborhood has homes from around 2,000 square feet for $280,000 up to 2,600 square feet house for around $355,000. We see Stanley Martin's neighborhood, Harvest Ridge. So to give you an idea, this neighborhood features homes from 2,000 square feet up to almost 2,800 square feet. Pricing in this neighborhood starts around $270,000 up to $319,000. So on the left here, what you'll notice is actually what's called Kershaw County West Complex. They do have a lot of complexes around the area, rec, sports, things like that. This one specifically though, features 4 tennis courts, 3 lighted soccer fields, 4 lighted baseball fields, walking track, 2 shelters, as well as playground and restrooms. And you do have others around the area as well that we may not pass, but again, each of the counties do have kind of rec centers. So right here on the left, you may see is going to be Elgin Lugoff High School, followed by Elgin Lugoff Middle School. These are going to be the local schools for the area. And again, you've probably seen as we're driving through these areas, the new construction signs that are kind of popping up all over the area. Again, a lot of the builders, as to be 100% honest, it got harder and harder to find land in the Lexington and Columbia areas. They just started pushing out to these more rural areas. And so we're seeing more growth and development. And of course, you know, a lot of people hate that I say this, but oftentimes you build the neighborhoods and then you start to see some of the infrastructure pick up as well. Either way, on the right back there, you might have noticed the MUSC Health medical facility. As we get closer down to the area, MUSC, as I talked about in some of my other videos, did acquire a hospital system down in Columbia. However, they did as well acquire the one out here in Kershaw that will pass later on. And so that's why you're starting to see some of their facilities right around the area, the clinics and those types of things, urgent care and more. As we go further down on the right, you may catch sign of D.R. Horton's neighborhood 8's Village. These are gonna be our single family homes from D.R. Horton's Express series. Homes ranging from 1,475 square feet to 2,500 square feet. Pricing from the mid 200s to the low 300s. All right, so as we come up to this split here, to the right would have taken you back towards I-20, the interstate, but we're gonna continue on, and this puts us right into Lugoff. And so as we pull into Lugoff here, as we kind of turn this corner, you'll start to see quite a bit more shopping again than there was per se in Elgin. And actually there's quite a few dealerships, as you see. There's a Ford dealership, there's a Toyota dealership, and some others that will pass by on the way. Either way, after the car dealerships, you'll see a lot more fast food options, to be 100% honest. McDonald's, Burger King, Taco Bell, as well. You do have Food Lion for grocery shopping and more. But to the left here in Lugoff, you'll also run into D.R. Horton's neighborhood, Willow Commons. So this neighborhood has 2-unit townhomes, including single-story plan homes from 1,178 square feet to 1,418 square feet. Pricing coming in the low 200s. As we come out of Lugoff, on the left, you may see signs for Lennar's Village at Bulware townhomes. These are townhomes right around 1,500 square feet, and the pricing comes in the low 200s. On the right here is going to be the Invista chemical plant. So obviously one of the jobs and manufacturers in the area. On the left is going to be the Watery Veterans Memorial Park. We will be coming up to a bridge over here where we're going to cross over the Watery River. And we're going to talk about Lake Watery in just a little bit here after we drive through Camden, because there is obviously Lake Watery not too far from where we are. And we'll talk about that a little bit later on. All right, so as we roll into Camden here, this first light we come up to the left is actually gonna take you to where the Carolina Cup is, which, like I said, we're gonna go by that later. But we're gonna swing by downtown first, check out some of their downtown, but you can see quite a bit of shopping right here. So on the left over there, you're gonna have Walmart Supercenter, Chick-fil-A, Tractor Supply, Marshall's, Lowe's Home Improvement, Starbucks, Chili's, Zaxby's, Dollar Tree, and so much more. So as I said, obviously depending on where you live is gonna determine where your shopping's gonna be, right? Some of that Elgin early off stuff, you might be going back to Sandhills, where this way, you can hit a lot of the places down here. As we come into downtown Camden, on the left is going to be Kershaw County Park, but we're going to be swinging right to loop around where Camden High School is and then circle back again through downtown Camden so you can check out their downtown. On the left here, you may start to see Camden High School, and on the right, the Camden High School Sports Complex. So as we come to this intersection, we're going to be making a left. To the right, around the corner about 3 miles, you'll hit D.R. Horton's South Haven neighborhood. This new construction neighborhood features homes from 1,600 square foot ranch plan up to 2,500 square feet. Their pricing comes in from the high 200s to low 300s. As we turn left, on the right, you'll also see the historic Camden Revolutionary War site where they do reenactments. They have a gift shop and you can learn about the history of Camden, as mentioned, being SC's oldest inland city. So as we drive through downtown Camden here, you'll see multiple restaurants, boutique shops, and so much more. I know one of the highlights of this area is their quaint downtown that a lot of people like. We're going to be making a right to show you a little bit more of the living areas, as well as drive by Kershaw County's Medical Center, which is now owned by MUSC Health, as I mentioned. So if we were to head to the right there, eventually it'll take you to the Antioch Committee Center and Flea Market. We actually went and saw a rodeo at that arena not too long ago. So we're going to be heading over to the historic district, and I'll talk about price in that area when we get that direction. But this area here is not a part of that. But to give you an idea of the homes, in the last year, homes here sold between $75,000 and $335,000, with the average price coming in right around $170,000 in this area here. Mostly going to be non-neighborhood HOA neighborhoods, but you do have some neighborhoods throughout. On the left here is going to be MUSC Health, Kershaw Medical Center. Again, as mentioned in prior videos, MUSC did come into the area and purchase Providence, a hospital system downtown, but they as well acquired Kershaw Medical Center out here in Kershaw. It's going to be the main hospital for the area. All right, so as we pull in here to the historic district, pricing over the last year ranged from $40,000 up to $885,000, with homes dating back to the late 1800s. For reference, keep in mind that 40,000 house had not been lived in for many years, with no power on, and was sold as is. So you can imagine this house needed a little more than just paint and new carpet. On average though, in the historic district, homes have sold for around $433,000. I've shown this district multiple times. You'll definitely find homes with a lot of character and this historic traits. Different styles, some that have been updated and renovated, and others that felt like time capsules when you walked in this. I'll be making a video about this in the future, but one thing to keep in mind is a lot of these historic homes is the building codes and method were quite a bit different back then. So I always tell people, inspection reports scare you. Historic houses may not always be the best choice, right? I mean, houses without ground wire and so many other things. As well, one of the other things, if it is on the historic registry, there's a lot of rules of what you can do with the house. I listed a house one time that was over 100 years old, and he refused to go on the historic registry because he's like, I'm not gonna have someone tell me what I can and can't do with my house. Making a right, we're going to be heading towards the Carolina Cup. Just past where we turn left will be Lennar's brand new neighborhood, Meadow Springs, with homes ranging from 1,600 square feet up to around 2,600 square feet, with pricing from the high 200s to low 300s. As well, continue for a couple minutes and you'll hit Great Southern Homes neighborhood, Friendship Hill Farms. They have homes from 1,985 square feet to over 3,000 square feet, with pricing in the mid 300s. As well, if you continue straight for about 15 minutes, it'll take you to Lake Watery. Keep going about 25 minutes and you'll be where Lake Watery's marina, state park, and so much more is. Give you an idea, Lake Watery is a 13,800 acre lake. For reference, Lake Murray is 50,000 acres, so much smaller lake. It's also a more rural area. Well, you'll find a lot more shopping and amenities down here in Camden. Either way, to give you an idea of homes on the lake, on Lake Watery, since the beginning of the year. Between a 660 square foot manufactured home for $205,000 up to a 2,868 square foot home for $1,100,000. But the average home on Lake Wateree came in at $555,000. On the left is going to be Camden Country Club. It's a private family-friendly club offering golf, tennis, and swim. Activities suit each member of your family. It was chartered in 1899 as a place for golf, polo, and other athletic sports, and established in 1903. Camden Country Club is considered one of South Carolina's distinguished private clubs. On the right, we're going to be pulling up to the Carolina Cup. The Carolina Cup is a South Carolina tradition that has achieved premier social event status in the state. The annual Rite of Spring draws over 30,000 fans from across the world to enjoy the riveting sport of steeplechase horse racing right here in Camden, South Carolina. Camden is one of those growing areas where, as you see a lot of those new constructor builders coming to the area, but you still still have a lot of that rural feel, not as developed as some of the areas we've seen around. As well, you have that charm of their downtown with that historic feel. As well, back when I worked on the ambulance, I was out in Lugoff, and they do a ton of local parades, events, same with Camden. So it's one of the things that draws people to these areas is their quaint downtowns versus more that urbanness that you get in, per se, Columbia. Now, obviously, Lexington has their more small town feel with their downtown, as well as places like Irmo, Blythewood, Chapin, and so many more. But again, there's so many places right here in the Midlands of South Carolina that are unique and special that a lot of people find and seek out. And that's why I make these videos, to teach you more about the areas and learn more. But again, don't hesitate to reach out. That way you don't have to go at this alone. But you also want to check out this video series here. This is where I break down the entire area so you can learn about all these different areas that I have talked about in the video.